I'm here with Coach Fortenberry today. He is the head football coach at University Prep. I love Coach Fort, and one of the biggest things I've learned from Coach Fort is the value of instilling culture into a program. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. How do you define culture within your football program?
Yeah, it's the most important thing, right? It's king. So culture is something that's alive if you're feeding it and nurturing it and taking care of it every day. And if it's something that you neglect and aren't intentional about, it'll die on you, right? So, we definitely instill culture and talk about like what the standards are in our program every single day. But it's something that you have to work at, and we certainly do. So,
where did you pick this value for culture up at?
I think we've all had coaches that have taught us things that like they're amazing lessons, and then there's been other times where you're like, okay, when I'm a coach, I'm not going to do those things, right? The truth is, Coach Trueblood, we'll talk about him eventually, I'm sure too, but he was the coach prior to me and was my high school head coach. He always talked about there had to be evidence of your philosophy for it to be a real thing. So if you're going to talk about leading the way as we do and doing the right things, then there better be evidence that you're doing those things and including people and all the things we talk about, our core values, which I think is something we talk about later. But Coach Trueblood was monumental. Rochelle Engley, our superintendent, principal, and athletic administrator for the longest time, had talked about that too, the culture piece of it's amazing what people will do for you when they know that you love them and that you want what's best for them too. It goes a long way. So
come on, I love that. Like, one thing is developing as a leader is like you're gonna pick different things up from different people and see the end product of what you have built. All right, bro. Question number 2 for you is, what were the first steps you took to start shaping the culture?
I say this a lot. I'm blessed much more than I deserve. I came into a situation where, although the way it happened wasn't ideal, but the person that I followed, Coach Trueblood, was the foundation was not only set, but there's quite a few stories in the building too, right? It wasn't like we weren't building something from scratch for sure. So, Coach Trueblood suddenly passed, and it was during COVID and all that. We basically had. I think 7 days. 7 days after he passed, they said, "Hey, we're bringing football back, and we have a spring season, and it starts in 3 weeks." So the culture piece was really latching onto the things we had learned from him. But as you become a head coach, you kind of latch on to things that you believe in, and a lot of it for us was we have a saying that there's an obligation to the past. And a responsibility to the future, and that means that the people that came before us, and then all the work that they have done, we stand on their shoulders, and also understand that we have responsibility to the kids that are coming, whether it's our freshmen this year or whether it's our 6th graders, whether it's my own kids in however many years. It's a massive responsibility that we have. So we try to be intentional about that, and I think that I would be remiss if I didn't give massive credit to those two for sure.
Absolutely. And one common theme I'm already picking up on is the word intentional. You guys are very intentional with your program, and it's evident. What are some core values you have, or maybe even the non-negotiables in the program?
Yeah, I think there's a kind of a crossroads, right, with building programs. People either believe in rules and have a listing of rules, and if you violate Rule 16, then this happens. And we definitely focus on relationships over rules. Every kid is treated well. Not every kid is treated the exact same because every kid is different. But we are certainly building that, right? So we've built off of what was we, not me. Putting others before yourselves. No excuses, no messengers, no sympathy groups, which builds into like our mission statement, which is we're using the game of football to build quality young men in life, right? So. When they grow up and when they're older, what kind of a husband are they? What kind of dad are they? What kind of worker are they? Those are all huge. Our core values you asked about are accountability, excellence, integrity, and servanthood. So those 4 things are on every PowerPoint that we have from day 1 here in a couple weeks of fall camp, including parent meetings. We had a football and moms clinic a couple weeks ago. That was the first slide on that. So we try to make sure we broadcast and let people know. Here's what we stand for, and we're not perfect, but this is what we're trying to do. So
it's definitely working. So I haven't shared this piece with you off camera or anything, but like one father came to me and he told me this. He said, "I can tell you my son is a better person now than he was before he joined the football program." And so that's just, I think the piece of integrity, and yeah, I see it all the time. When we're out the field, you'll see a kid just walk off the track and pick up trash and put it in a trash can.
Love that.
So yeah, man.
Trying to get me a crown film, man. I appreciate that. Those are kind words.
And you kind of touched on this just a second ago, but what does culture look like beyond the scoreboard?
It's everything, right?
Yeah.
So we're not trying to build the best team. There's a lot of people that can build teams, Little League teams or travel ball teams, and they do, and that's fine. But we're trying to build something that's long-lasting, that stands up to time and stands up to generations, right? So I believe that our calling as coaches and even at our school at University Prep is to make sure we give the very best to our kids, and ultimately, and this has happened. I mean, every time it happens, I'm thankful. But our kids coming back and basically saying like, "Hey, coach, thank you for investing in me as a squirrely 17-year-old or whatever." And now it's happening to where we've. I've been blessed enough to officiate a couple weddings of our own players that have graduated and gotten married, and it's just crazy. But those long-lasting relationships is what it's about. That's the goal. I care much more, and we do obviously care about wins and losses, and I'm about as competitive as it comes. But understanding the value of the more positive influences we can have in our kids' lives, the better off we all are. And I want the same for my own boys, right? So those long-lasting, meaningful relationships mean the world to me, and luckily they mean a lot to those kids I still keep in contact with. So
Okay, how do you communicate the culture? Because one thing you said at the beginning is like, I'm intentional, right? So how do you communicate this to your players and your coaches, and even I would say the school community constantly?
About the culture piece, or about being intentional, or
The culture piece.
yeah, I think we've talked a bunch about this, but I think that you have to make a conscious decision to do it, right?
Yeah.
We talked to our coaches about, I want you to be, that's our challenge this year with our staff is, I want you to get to know your players and your position on a deeper level. My position is my coaching staff. So I need to pour into them and make sure that I'm encouraging them. They all have lives. We have engineers, and we have financial advisors, and we have teachers. We have a little bit of everything. So just making sure that, we know what the mission is, and reminding them of like, hey, even when we're stretching and when it's pre-practices, we're walking lines, and before we get into our everyday drills or whatever we're doing, is make sure you make contact. And it means a lot. It doesn't seem like a lot. It means a lot to walk the lines and give high fives and say good morning, or hey, good to see you, or whatever it may be. Make a connection with each kid. And I think our school is the same, right? I mean, it's pursuing excellence together. That's the mission that's on the wall. I mean, we're just simply falling in line with our athletic program that has been built by a lot of great people before we were here, and just upholding that standard in our own way.
Love it. Intentional and consistent with that. Can you give an example of a tradition or a daily habit that kind of reinforces the culture you have?
Oh, man. Let's see. A daily one?
Daily, or you could even think of it, because this is a football program, you can think game day. Is there anything specific you guys do?
Yeah, I think a lot. I think that I'll give you a little bit of both. I'll give you a regular, like, day-to-day one. In practice or whatever it is, we do a lot of, you hear about call-outs, right? Like, people do call-outs for special teams or whatever, but we don't do it every single day. But a lot of days, I'll say, call out a certain player. I'll say, hey, Isaiah, who would you like to call out today in a positive? They're basically a shout out. So they stand up in front of their peers and they say, hey, I saw, Jordan, you were working extra hard today. You did extra reps. You did what you needed to do to make us better. And you stayed after, whatever it may be. But it puts them, they're vulnerable in front of their peers, but they're also real, right? I want to be like, hey, you're good because you're our quarterback, and move on. I want to be intentional. Why? So communicating gratitude, which I'm sure we'll talk about eventually too, is huge in our program. And then the game day thing that a lot of people, there's, as you know, thousands of different pregame rituals. One of my favorite ones is we do quiet time. And so for 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, pretty squirrely. So for them, in a very emotional, very exciting moment of running on the field, we give them between 10 and 20 minutes of we don't do the boom boxes and the crazy loudspeakers. I'm sure I'll get razzed for calling it a boom box, but being loudspeakers in the locker room, and then really just they have their own, whatever. If they want quiet, they have quiet. If they want to have headphones on, listen to our music, that's fine. But it's dark. We go in one of our other gyms and it's pitch black. And they just sit there and kind of gather their thoughts. And it seems very simple, but it is literally the calm before the storm. And I love that. Something that we inherited, but something we've kept.
I love that. So I've actually never seen that done in a program. That's really cool.
Well, you can come and observe it soon. So
yes, that'd be awesome. Ooh, this would be interesting. Okay, we're talking about buy-in now.
Okay.
And what I love about these talk, that this is a leadership discussion. And some of this is going to carry over to the business realm for the guy that's leading a bank or anything like that as well. How do you get teenagers to buy into the culture?
One, I think you have to believe it in yourself.
Okay.
If kids, most people, but kids especially have an amazing detection of things that are false. We'll put it that way as a PG, right? So they see right through that. So being consistent and being again intentional about what we're doing is huge. I know that I joke with some of our coaches, like, I want to be the first in the building and the last to leave. And it starts at the top, and not that you have to be a workaholic. That's another conversation from the day. But the reality is, you set the standard as a person. So if I say lead the way, but they know that I'm not a family man, or they know that I'm not doing the right things, it's hypocritical. So, and I'm far from perfect, and my wife would be happy to tell you that, I'm sure. But we're all striving for that. We're all striving to be great. So I think the way you get buy-in is showing value. You're a part of something bigger than yourself. Mm-hmm. It's not about you. Whether you are the best player or the worst player athletically, everybody has value. Everybody has a place, and I think that's the secret sauce to what we try to do is you have a purpose. We have kids that are 6'5" and 280 pounds, and we have kids that are probably 5'5" and whatever, right? Then all of them are equal, and all of them have a value, whether or not they get on the football field or not, because I value the relationships, and we value that. So it's easy to get buy-in when they realize, like, it's not transactional. It's not like, what can you do for me?
Totally.
It's no matter what, we're gonna be consistent.
They know year after year you care for who I am, not for what I can give you. Mm-hmm. That's good. How do you handle the players who challenge your culture or just won't buy into it?
That's a great question. I think you learn a lot about yourself when you're a parent too, right? I think that it's the same way that you run a business, or you run a football program, or you parent. There's a lot of crossover. Mm-hmm. I think being consistent. I think that by communicating your expectations, not only for your program or your business, but also for your employees or your players like us, is huge. So when the challenges do arise, I can be pretty intense and passionate about the game and the people I'm around, but I think that the best times when it's been challenging has been, this is unacceptable and here's why. Mm-hmm. If it's a behavioral thing or whatever it may be. And, if this does not stop, then you won't be a part of it. And ultimately, there's been plenty of times where it's not for everybody, right? Our program is unique. And so there's places where you can go and not be held to the same standards, and that's okay. For some people, that's just the path of least resistance, and that's what they enjoy. For us, it's a unique thing. So I would say direct communication, honest communication is valued, even though they may disagree that, maybe they think that their son's better than another kid or whatever it may be. When I have those conversations with parents or with the kids, it's here's why you're doing this, and here's what we're gonna do moving forward. So I think that removing as much of the extreme emotion as you can out of it, and then just being direct is what I try to do.
Challenging to withdraw the emotion whenever there are heated conversations, but definitely an important piece to remember. Last question for you, Coach. What kind of impact do you hope your players carry with and beyond football?
That's a great question. It's everything. I think that there's so many different levels of both those things, right? We've been talking a lot in our football staff about legacy, right? Whether it be a great leader and an administrator that we have, or a former coach, or whatever it is. What is our legacy going to be? And a lot of it has become like we're trying to honor those that came before us, the obligation of the past, the responsibility of the future thing we talked about. But also, we're kind of carving out our own now too, right? Like University Prep is known for what we are. Some of it's earned, and some of it probably isn't. But at the same time, I think legacy is what I want our kids to do, is know that when they leave our program and leave our school, that they were given the very best that we have. Mm-hmm. We were consistent. We demanded the best. The standard didn't change based off of, whether I'm friends with the family or I've never met the family or whatever it may be. The standard doesn't change, and I think that there's peace in that too. Peace in knowing that, like, hey, you're a part of this. When kids come back in 10 years, well, what does that look like, right? When kids come back, and we're getting to the point now where our staff has been here for going into our 7th or 8th year, I think. 6th as a head coach here, but I think that those kids coming back wanting to be a part of it's huge. We have 30 to 50 a year, and wanting to be a part of it. I read the text message from the alumni to our teams on Fridays, because I get between I don't know, 3 and 20 texts depends on what big game it is, right? A lot more when it's bigger games usually. But just let them know, like, we have probably 15, 20 kids that are watching from all over the country. We have an alumni that's at University of Kentucky right now, and he's like, Coach, I stayed up till 3 o'clock watching that big game last night. I'm like, well, I'm glad we pulled it out, or whatever it was. Like, it's just, I think the relationship piece and ultimately how they'll carry on our legacy as a staff and as a coach and even as our school is going to be that we're just built a little different. That you're going to treat people well, that you're going to honor them, that when everyone else is doing the wrong thing, that you're going to do the right thing and stand up and have courage and integrity. And it has nothing to do with football. It has to do about doing what's right, and just carrying that torch. So that's what I would like for our players to know and also remember when they grow up. So,
Dang, Coach, so good. If I could only hop in a time machine and make myself 15 years younger, I might.
Shoot, I wish I knew it. Yeah, even a couple years. I wish I would be a better coach if I could have learned this sooner, right? So.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for your time, brother, and
Appreciate you, bud.
see you soon.
Yeah, can't wait. Thank you.